been a lot of progress here since the last time we got together. You know, we're moving right along. Things are, it's all framed, and, we got our house wrap on and moving on to the next type of, products that we need to install and do that. Last time we got together, we had an electrician over here, and we kind of talked about home automation and different products to think about when you're wiring up an eco-friendly home, whether it be security, communications, just some good insight and information. Now, we've moved that past that stage, and now I wanted to talk to you about windows. After much debate, we met with David Lee over there at Rings End Lumber, and he kind of showed us all these different kinds of window manufacturers and configurations. And after thinking and debating which one seems to work the best, we did pick a brand of window. We ordered, they've been delivered and installed. So I'd like to show those to you if you like. Come right along. We got the windows and doors installed. A lot of these, we put in and we got it all set up on there. And then I kind of took over at that point. I had some framers help out, frame out everything that needs to be done here. And then I kind of flashed it and did that. As you can see here, this is the master bedroom. We have a couple of stationary French doors, and then we have operable in the middle. And you can see how we put it in, and then we put flashing around it, and really paid attention to the details to make sure between infiltration and water and moisture, we were able to keep all that out. Since there may be a deck going underneath here and a skirt board, we put a big thing underneath to, again, water barrier to prevent anything from migrating underneath those type of things. Well, as you can see, the window really only protrudes about an inch off of the framing material. When we go to do our super insulated home, we actually have to build some jambs on this so it accommodates the outside surface. After our insulation, we'll be able to put casing and wrap the windows. We'll look a little funny with this big return going into there. As you can see, these are the type of windows that would be installed out there. What we did is we created these extension jambs that protrude out, and this will be flush with the insulation and the plywood on the outside, and then my casing would go on here, and for you it would look traditional. You wouldn't see anything different, but the idea was here, now we have to frame it out, accommodate for there, have a sill on here, so if there's any water, we have that. Between that and the way we flashed it, we left a good gap going all the way around so we can have a very good bead of caulk underneath everything and seal it. We have some super commercialized stuff. And I'd really been very careful on that. So, again, the casing would go on to here, insulation all built up on there, and we can see. To keep this house very eco-friendly, we decided to use reclaimed insulation. There's several sources out there that do offer reclaimed or recycled or reused insulation. So I'm using a polyiso here. 2 different layers. I have 4 inches thick is what I'm looking for. So the company I've been dealing with, they did not have all 2 inch. So I have 1.5 and 2.5. So the total of those equal my 4 inches. So same difference. The idea is to use the different materials. But what we'll do is we'll do alternating layers depending on which one makes the most sense. We'll come up, and that's why my extension jambs are the way they are. And then my 1/2 inch of plywood would go right up to there, and that extension jamb now would be flush with the exterior surface of the house. That way we insulate right up to it, close to it. We're going to caulk in between, spray foam, do all those things that we got. And again, when the plywood comes on here, then we'll put our casing and trim and detail, and then side the house. But you can see there is a little bit of work, differently on doing it this way with the rigid insulation on the outside of the house versus a thick wall, or different ways to insulate it. Or some people hold the window to the outside and do the extension jamb on the inside. But in our case, we decided to do this, the build-up on the outside. And I'm sure people are asking, well, why would you do it in 2 layers instead of just 1? You could buy 1 thick layer. The advantage to me is in 2 layers is that we stagger the joints. The whole idea is infiltration as well. If I stagger the 2 different layer, their joints, tape and foam them, I feel I have a much better infiltration preventiveness for air than just a single layer where there is, that gap. And plus 4 inches is not as common as some other sizes, and so we were able to find these locally. And again, these came off a commercial building. They were on a commercial roof. and most of them are in very good shape. So the idea was to, again, use that reclaimed material, help be green, do all that part for the environment. Well, here's just an example, one of the frames that we built, or extension jambs, if you want to, per se to say, for that insulation. You know, we need to build it up to make it look like it's flush with the plywood and that insulation system. And this is actually for the back of the home. We have 2 windows and an 8-foot door in between. So we're trying to tie all that together. We used material, PVC lumber. The reason that we use the PVC lumber is that, you know, it doesn't degrade over time. You know, we don't have to worry about painting it quite as much, and it's just a better product to be left outside. Well, as we talked about, you know, the extension jambs we fabricated to accommodate for that installation. You know, we could have outsourced it, could have went to a company that can measure and do all that, but that was very costly. Next choice is I could have had, you know, on-site labor or carpenters or something do it. But since I'm handy and I have the tools, I decided to do it all myself. I'm that kind of guy. I like to challenges and do new things. So basically, we just figured out what we needed. I ordered the material, ripped it up. We use a table saw to create angles if we want to, or rip things to a specific dimension. And then a chop saw over here is where we'll do our cross cuts or cut things to length and do all that. We actually brought in a vacuum system here. So again, the dust to here is very fine and staticky. It does make quite the mess. So we try to minimize that by having the vacuum system in here. But again, it goes pretty quick. You know, the whole idea is to just plan before you cut, you know. We used about 3 different styles of windows in the house, and we work with the architect on this to meet the look and feel that we want and the usefulness of the product. You know, in our great room right here, we actually have casement windows. Casement, again, are hinged on one side and swing out. You could do left or rights depending on, you know, what you want to do, either a breeze or a view or walking. And in this case, we have, again, casement windows, but in the middle of between those 2 casement windows, we have a fixed window. You know, so you can almost say picture window for a casement. So it makes the same sizing and look. And so from the outside, from the inside, it looks the same. It's just non-operable. A double hung window are other products that we used here. Very common here in New England for the look and feel that we have. Double hung means that both the upper and lower sash both move. In this case, we put a grill in the top sash and no grill on the bottom one just to get that look. But the idea that they can open and allow the breeze or even be clean. These are tilt-out takeouts, which means they tilt out to you, and you can clean them and snap them right back in. Another style window that we used in this house is called an awning window. An awning window is a hinged window, but not like a casement window. A casement window is hinged either left or right. Awning window is hinged at the top. The idea with an awning window, it can open and it doesn't allow rain to come in. So you get that ventilation that you want, but we don't have the rain coming in or anything else. So it's nice to leave it cracked. We're in one of the guest bathrooms right here, and so we've chosen an awning one. It is up high for privacy. We picked it that way. And it also is a tempered window. Anything near a tub or anything else needs to be a tempered glass on that. But again, it gives it a certain look and feel. In this case, we did a divided light on it, so it gives that cottagey type style. Well, it's also, you have to think about the location you're going to use the window. Not every window works in every application. Like we said, the awning window works great in the bathroom, but you cannot put that in a bedroom. In a bedroom, you have to have a certain kind of window that meets the code for egress. If there is a fire or somebody needs to get out, you got to have the ability to, you know, have a fireman either get in or get out. So there is a certain square inch opening that's required. We call it egress. So in here, in these bedrooms, we had to pick a double hung window in this case that had that free area or opening is large enough to meet that egress code. Well, as you can see, we're moving right along here. This is the insulation that we started to put on the outside, and it's all coming together. We got those windows with the extension jamb. We'll put our plywood on it. We'll be able to put our casing on, finish up everything there, and then continue on with the siding, and it really will tie everything together. The extension jambs allow us these 2 layers of insulation, you know, for infiltration, for insulation. Really excited about this. I'm really excited. We get the windows installed. We're moving right along with the installation on the eco-friendly home. This is great. And next time we get together, we're going to meet and talk about roofing. You know, what type of materials, what kind of choices do we have? Not just colors or manufacturers. There's a lot more thought that goes involved. So stay tuned. It's awesome.